Knicks Nation, we are officially sitting at the absolute mountaintop as NBA champions. But the rest of the Eastern Conference is not sleeping. Miami is currently loading up a blockbuster trade package to steal Giannis Antetokounmpo and dethrone us. To understand how we counter this threat, we have to look back at the brutal front office sacrifices like losing Donte DiVincenzo and the massive bullet we dodged with Donovan Mitchell. Let's break down exactly how the Knicks built this dynasty and how they protect it.
Is the Eastern Conference about to be flipped completely upside down just weeks after the Knicks finally secured the NBA championship? We are sitting at the absolute mountaintop of the basketball world right now, but Pat Riley and the Miami Heat are not going to just let New York build a dynasty without putting up a massive fight. The latest intel suggests a tectonic shift is brewing in South Beach, and if it goes through, it's going to force the Knicks front office to immediately evaluate how their front court matches up against a completely revitalized rival. So why is this happening right now? After 13 seasons and a ring in 2021, the Milwaukee Bucks have suffered too many catastrophic playoff disappointments, and their championship window with this current aging core has essentially slammed shut. The momentum is heavily favoring the Miami Heat to step in and end this long-running saga. We're looking at a classic before versus now scenario in the East. Before, Milwaukee was the terrifying juggernaut that forced teams to build a wall in the paint. Now they are a distressed asset looking to hit the reset button. And Miami is desperately trying to maximize Jimmy Butler's final elite years by pairing him with the ultimate rim pressure monster. But here's where the tactical obstacles and front office drama really come into play. Can the Heat actually make the money work under the harsh realities of the collective bargaining agreement without completely gutting their depth? If Miami ships out their primary perimeter creators, they run the risk of fielding a roster with zero spacing. You're putting Giannis and Bam Adebayo, two guys who do their best work in the paint, on the same floor. Furthermore, the Boston Celtics are hovering as a serious alternative landing spot, potentially looking to construct a complex multi-team deal involving Jaylen Brown. The tension here is palpable, because whichever team lands the Greek Freak will instantly become the primary threat to the Knicks' title defense. Let's look at the hard numbers and the facts of the proposed package. NBA insiders are reporting that Miami's offer is centered around Tyler Herro, promising young big man Kel'el Ware, and standout wing Jaime Jaquez Jr., alongside the number 13 pick in the upcoming June 23 NBA draft and additional future draft compensation. Any team acquiring Giannis has to factor in his contract situation. He has one guaranteed season left before a massive player option worth $62.8 million kicks in for the 2027-28 season. That means Miami isn't just trading their depth, they are committing their entire salary cap future and luxury tax apron flexibility to a core that will be extremely expensive to maintain. From a pure Knicks perspective, I am looking at this rumored Miami package and saying, bring it on. The risk for the Heat is astronomical. Giving up Herro's outside shooting and Jaquez's two-way versatility leaves Miami incredibly thin on the perimeter. The Knicks just won a title because they have the ultimate wing stopper rotation in Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby to build that wall, plus a floor spacing center to pull rim protectors out of the paint. If Miami wants to mortgage their future for a cramped front court, let them. What do you guys think? Does a Giannis and Bam front court actually terrify you, or do the Knicks have the perfect roster to shut them down? Let me know in the comments.
You just won your first NBA championship in 53 years. The entire city of New York is painted orange and blue, and the parade floats are rolling down the Canyon of Heroes. So why is your front office secretly harboring a broken heart? It sounds completely counterintuitive to be mourning a roster move while you're holding the Larry O'Brien trophy, but the reality of building a championship roster requires a level of ruthlessness that can tear locker rooms apart. To understand why this cuts so deep, you have to look at the chemistry this team had before the monumental blockbuster trade. The Villanova Knicks weren't just a fun marketing gimmick. Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, and Donte DiVincenzo shared a genuine brotherhood built on winning 2 NCAA titles together. They possessed an unspoken on-court synergy that most front offices spend decades trying to manufacture, but the paradigm shifted when the front office realized that good vibes and regular season hustle weren't going to be enough to combat the super teams out west. They needed a floor spacer at the 5 who could legitimately alter defensive coverages, and that required making a devastating sacrifice. The conflict in the negotiation room was intense, and Minnesota drew a hard line in the sand. The Timberwolves flat out refused to execute the Karl-Anthony Towns trade unless Donte DiVincenzo was part of the package. Knicks president Leon Rose was reportedly crushed. He loved how DiVincenzo played. He understood his value as a knockdown shooter, and he knew exactly how ripping the fourth Villanova brother away would impact the personal relationships and morale of his franchise player, Jalen Brunson. It was an excruciating tactical obstacle. Do you keep the family together and hope for the best, or do you trade a beloved rotation player for a unicorn big man who fits your point guard skill set perfectly? The facts validate the front office's painful decision. During his Knicks tenure, DiVincenzo was electric, averaging 15.9 while shooting an elite 40.4% from beyond the arc. Tragically, he is now expected to miss the entire next season with Minnesota after rupturing his Achilles in the playoffs. Meanwhile, Karl-Anthony Towns proved to be the ultimate difference maker. When the Knicks met the San Antonio Spurs in the NBA Finals, they needed an offensive hub who could pull Victor Wembanyama out of the paint. Towns stepped up brilliantly, putting himself in the Finals MVP conversation before Brunson ultimately took the honors. My honest take, Leon Rose just delivered a masterclass in separating emotion from asset management. In the modern NBA, you cannot let sentimentality dictate your cap space and rotation decisions. The Knicks needed a dominant front court piece to counter the generational size of Wembanyama, and Towns was the exact pick-and-pop weapon required to unlock Brunson's drives. It hurts that DiVincenzo isn't here to pop champagne with his college brothers, but banners hang forever. Would you have made the trade knowing the emotional toll it took on the locker room? Drop your thoughts below.
What if I told you that the biggest reason the New York Knicks are currently reigning as NBA champions isn't because of the superstars they traded for, but rather the superstars they flat out rejected? In a league obsessed with instant gratification and splashy headlines, it is almost impossible for a massive market team to practice patience. But the Knicks just proved that the secret to surviving the luxury tax apron and building a dynasty lies in knowing exactly when to walk away from the table. Let's rewind the clock to understand the magnitude of this restraint. Before Jalen Brunson evolved into a top-tier MVP candidate, the entire basketball world assumed it was a foregone conclusion that Donovan Mitchell was heading to Madison Square Garden in 2022. The Utah Jazz were demanding an absolute ransom, what Mitchell himself later described as hella draft picks. The Knicks were desperate for a marquee name, but they balked when R.J. Barrett became the sticking point. Fast forward to now, keeping their powder dry allowed them to execute surgical strikes to acquire the perfect role-playing stars instead of gutting their future for one high-usage guard. Tension during those non-trades was immense. If New York pairs Brunson and Mitchell, they are trotting out two undersized guards in the backcourt, a combination that opposing offenses ruthlessly hunt in the playoffs. The tactical conflict of hiding two small guards on defense would have completely unraveled Tom Thibodeau's system. Furthermore, New York faced extreme external pressure last offseason during an exclusive negotiating window with the Milwaukee Bucks for Giannis Antetokounmpo. They drew a hard line in the sand, refused to surrender their entire cache of lottery picks and core pieces, and walked away from a top-5 player who ended up finishing the year injured. The facts of these sliding door moments speak for themselves. Because the Knicks did not trade R.J. Barrett to Utah, they were able to use him as the primary centerpiece to acquire OG Anunoby, the defensive anchor that transformed their perimeter defense. Because they didn't empty their war chest of first-round picks for Mitchell, they still had the draft capital required to push the Mikal Bridges and Karl-Anthony Towns trades over the finish line. They carefully managed their cap space, utilized their trade exceptions wisely, and constructed a balanced two-way roster instead of a top-heavy mismatched super team. From my perspective, this is the blueprint for how you win in the new CBA era. The teams that panic and trade 5 unprotected picks for a shiny object end up stuck in the play-in tournament with zero flexibility.
The front office showed incredible discipline. They believed in Jalen Brunson's ability to be a true #1 option, and they surrounded him with elite wing defenders and a floor-spacing big, rather than stunting his growth next to another ball-dominant guard. Do you think the Knicks would have a ring right now if they had traded for Donovan Mitchell? Sound off in the comments.